and welcome to my channel Inspiring Life Changes. My name's Colette and this is a reading today for the new moon that is taking place in Capricorn. First of all, let me wish you all a very happy new year. Hope you've had great Christmas celebrations for those of you who celebrate. I hope you've had a wonderful time, and also I hope you've had a brilliant start to this 2022 very Venus themed new year that we're moving into. And I say Venus themed because if you put all the numbers of 2022 together, you come up with a number 6, and the number 6 resonates with the energy of Venus herself. So it is going to be a very Venus energy that we're going to be working with throughout the whole of 2022, mainly because the nodes are about to shift as well. So the North Node is about to shift into Taurus, but I will talk more about that within the actual reading that I'll be doing as well. So this is the astrology part of my reading. This is the first part. The second part will be followed by, or will be the follow-on of the tarot reading as well. So I'm going to start the reading off as usual with the cards that this new moon in Capricorn is all about, which is here, this new moon energy itself, all about the new, all about something new being brought into being created, something, a new desire being planted, a new start coming, the new year in itself, the fact that the first new moon happens the day after the first is quite interesting, and it's another theme that's going to run throughout 2022 as well, is the new moons are going to take place at the very beginning of the month for nearly the whole of the year. So that's going to be interesting for those of you who set intentions for the new moon energy. We also have new moon in Capricorn. Your hard work is paying off, because Capricorn of course is about the 10th house, and the energy that goes along with the 10th house is all about endurance, stability, hard work, rewards after having put in the hard work as well. So for some this could be a time of rewards because you have already put in a lot of hard work, and I think over these last 2 years a lot of us have been putting in hard work in ways that we otherwise wouldn't have imagined ourselves to be doing as well. So you never know how this could pay off in the end. So Cardinal moon energy is saying be bold and make the first move. Cardinal energy, initiating energy, starting energy again. Sorry about this glare. It's probably the best I'm going to get it. So also because it's a cardinal energy, it's part of that axis mundi of the world stage as well, so we're likely to see the themes playing out within the world stage, the bigger stage. 10th house is also known as the world stage in many ways as well. What happens in the 10th house kind of affects everybody on a much bigger scale. Establishment, corporations, government, all of those themes come under 10th house as well. So I'm going to very quickly do something that I don't normally do, but I want to do this today, and it's a spirit animal guide. And what I want to do, I want to start doing these on a more regular basis, is to pick a card for the next 2 weeks that is going to be working with us during this time. So the energy of the animal spirit that is most relevant for us at this time, and we get the Sandpiper Spirit, and it's saying be playful, which is interesting because that's something that Capricorns don't always find easy to do, in that sense, being very serious minded, shall we say. They do say that Capricorns become become more playful as they get older. So the young Capricorn child tends to be very serious, very studious in some ways, very hard working, again, very practical, very questioning as well. Capricorn children tend not to want to waste their time, and sometimes when they're younger, playing can be seen as being something that's not constructive for their time. So that's something that also could be watched for with Capricorn children as well. So the Sandpiper Spirit is saying, be playful. Sandpipers are like cute little clowns poking their beaks into the sand before darting off to chase the waves. The appearance of Sandpiper Spirit is a sign that now is a time to engage your playfulness. Whatever tasks you have before you, perform them with a lightness of being. Explore the familiar, discovering the new in the old. Who knows what treasures await you when you let yourself laugh and have fun. Sandpiper Spirit's happy and curious nature can help you to feel rejuvenated as you remember your ability to run and fly and dance playfully. So maybe that's something that we need to be a bit more open to over these next 2 weeks, because this is not going to be an easy time, these next 2 weeks, for reasons that I will go into. So the new moon in Capricorn, you'll have to forgive me, my voice is not great at this time. I actually have been ill over this whole Christmas period. I felt ill on Christmas Eve, and I haven't been able to taste anything for the whole of Christmas. It's been very dull. Everything has tasted like cardboard, so a bit sad. Yes, so I might be a bit sniffly and my voice might sound a bit croaky at times as well, so please bear with me on that one. So the new moon in Capricorn, the divine masculine sun energy conjuncts the divine feminine moon energy during the time of a new moon. So welcome to 2022 and the first new moon of the year, which is happening on the 2nd of January in the Cardinal 10th house earth sign of Capricorn at 12 degrees 20 minutes at 18:34 hours UK time. It will be different for other parts of the world, so check out the timing for wherever it is that you live. If you have any planets or points between the 0 to 17 degrees of Capricorn, you will be under the influence of this strong new moon. Also, the other cardinal signs of Cancer, who will be opposing this powerful new moon, along with Aries and Libra, both of which signs will be challenging 90-degree squares with this Capricorn energy. The placement of the house or houses within that 0 to 17 degrees area of your chart will also make a difference on a personal level, as this will be where you are going to want to plant the seed for the new, or of the new, for it to manifest in your life. So check out your own personal chart if you don't already know it. If you don't know what I mean by the house placement or houses placements between that 0 to 17 degree point of Capricorn, there could be a split in your houses as well. So you may find that you have both kind of energies working in 2 separate houses as well. There will be a link in the description box down below for anybody who wants to find out their own natal chart, which I do recommend you doing, because it is worth knowing where your own planets lie, so that you can go and have a bigger look throughout the whole of the upcoming year as well. So yeah, for the collective, this is going to be experienced in the 10th house which is all about endurance, mastery, the results of our previous hard work, discipline, sticking with something, seeing it through to the end, and the rewards we receive for all of the aforementioned. So, Capricorn and the 10th house energy is grounded, pragmatic. It does not like to cut corners. Ruled by Saturn, the harsh taskmaster of lessons that need to be learnt, he is the Lord of Karma and reminds us all actions taken or not taken will have consequences that ripple out into our lives. At the time of this new moon, Saturn at 12 degrees and 5 minutes in Aquarius is continuing to square with Uranus at 10 degrees 55 in Taurus. Uranus is still retrograde. So having just come off their last exact square on the 25th of December, which I wrote and talked about previously in my last video as well, Uranus is now slowing down as he gets ready to station direct on the 18th of January at 10 degrees 49 minutes. So he really is slowing down. He's like not going to be moving that much between that 10 degrees 55 back to 10 degrees 49. So his energy is really powerful at this time as well. All planets, when they start to slow down, to go direct or to go retrograde, that magnifies their energy. It makes it even more pronounced in our lives. And he is the last of our outer generational planets to do this. He's the last of the 5 big planets to turn direct. And we will feel these effects of this energy shift quite strongly in our lives as the Uranus as the universe steps up a gear or 4 into forward motion of looking ahead instead of looking back. I mean, for most of 2021 really, we've been in that kind of backwards looking mode, with all 5 planets that have gone retrograde and now stationed direct and are moving forward. So there's been a lot of kind of inner reflection, and we have been in this kind of extreme regressive state in many ways as well, of looking and living the past almost 2 years of this kind of dystopian sci-fi type novel. So Uranus just happens to rule over science fiction as well. So that's another reason why everything seems to be very kind of like wacky and out there and kind of like all a bit weird. It's very Uranian energy. So Uranus now at 10 degrees 55. His energy being amplified in Taurus is here to shake up our values, our financial systems, and our ideas of love and romance, as well as the past. He is here to bring in the new. So he's also here to shake up the past, to get rid of what we no longer need. He's here to bring in the new and change the world. At the time of this new moon in Capricorn, both the sun and the moon are in a trine with the planet of change, revolution, rebellion, the future, innovation, shocking awakenings, and enlightening consciousness. The sun began to trine Uranus on the 23rd of December, the day prior to the 3rd and last square. So on the previous day to Christmas Eve, which was the last time that Saturn and Uranus have been squaring together, the sun joined in. So Uranus has had the sun on his side, which kind of tipped the scales in many ways in his favour. Although Saturn's a big a big planet, a lot of energy in Saturn. But when you've got the Sun and Uranus together, that's not a fight you're going to win easily. So the Sun, kind of added his extra kind of, not just influence, but almost like a kind of like an extra boost, an extra push, an extra kind of saying like, there you go, you know, I'm on your side here, Uranus. Out with the old, in with the new. And this theme is still going to carry on throughout 2023 as well, because although they're not going to be in direct an exact square again at all in 2023, they are still going to be square, and they still are square at this time as well. So that square energy is not over yet. So the ruler of Taurus, Venus, the planet of love, romance, wealth, art, beauty, banking systems, and our values connected to these Venusian themes, are all under scrutiny at this time, as Venus continues on her journey of discovery. And of course Venus is also the ruler of Taurus, which is where we have Uranus at this time as well. She is taking a long hard look at an old devil, as when a planet turns retrograde it becomes introspective. Venus is reevaluating, reassessing and relearning some major transformational lessons, as she's in the sign ruled by the Lord of fate, karma and mastery, Saturn, while also still during this new Capricorn moon being conjunct Pluto, as she begins to take a deeper look at all the options. Venus and Pluto together are going to drill deep down into our emotional well-being, bringing forth old and unresolved issues of relationship scenarios that have been pushed to the very depth of our psyche. Venus, who has already crossed over this area once already, is now doing so a second time, and will continue to do so up until the 29th of January. Before she reaches that point, however, she will also cross over the 22-degree 46-minute point of Capricorn, where the major conjunction between Pluto and Saturn took place on the 12th of January 2020, during which time China was in the direct firing line of this massive tolling bell. So of course there's that whole thing that is out there at this time as well around everything that we've just gone through, and who it was, where it came from, why, etc, etc. More things are being discovered about this all the time. China was in the direct firing line of that massive conjunction that I have been going on about ever since it happened, because it has been having a major, huge major effect on everybody on this planet. And not just because of what we've just been through for the past 2 years almost, because I personally still believe that that has a lot more to do with the connection between Black Moon Lilith and Neptune when they met up back previous to 2020 in 2019, around about October in 2019. For me, that was when it all really started, because Black Moon Lilith and Neptune together is just like this kind of yuckiness. Is probably the best way to explain it. Neptune, mystery, things that can't be seen, that kind of energy, and Black Moon Lilith is all about taboos and darkness and things that we don't necessarily talk about in the open. So things that are hidden, kept secret, that kind of thing. Things that go on that maybe should not be going on, and they go on in secret for that exact reason. So that for me was when, that I see as the cause, but I see the effect as being the Capricorn, Pluto, Saturn in Capricorn conjunction. If that makes any sense. So, of course, with another thing as well was that at the solar eclipse, I believe it was, China was once again in the firing line. Something to do with their, I think it was their rising sign or their moon sign that was at the same degree point, the 12-degree point of Sagittarius. Can't remember exactly, I'd have to go back and check that out, but I know that something major in China's chart was being hit at that time as well. So, and if you've been following any of the financial news, you will know that there is something big happening out there at this time as well. And I did say back in, I think it was 2020 or sometime in 21, that they would topple, that they would be the regime that came down, because there is always, whenever Pluto and Saturn come together, a regime somewhere on the planet dies, a major regime as well, like big energy. So even though at this time it may not seem that that is going to be very likely, I'm still hedging my bets on that one. So anyway, so yeah, Venus went over this spot again on the 5th, for the first time on the 5th of December. And she has since returned there now for the second time. And this is happening just hours before the new moon on the 2nd in 2022. So this spot is going to be quite strongly activated again, this 22 spot. So again, check that spot out as well in your own chart to see which house it lies in for you, because it could be a theme that will come up at this time. So Venus will be reactivating these energies of both Saturn and Pluto, because she's conjunct Pluto, of course, but also she's in the sign that is ruled by Saturn. So the two of them are still kind of resonating that energy together. As she continues to excavate the areas of our hearts that are dealing with both the traditional and the evolutionary side of our life, in terms of clearing out what is no longer functional, no longer feels right, no longer makes us happy, or feeds our soul in a deeper, nourishing level. Pluto is himself about to reach the 26 degrees point, which he will do on the following day. So Pluto's at 25 degrees and 59 minutes at this time. About to get to the 26 point, and he's still in shadow. And so he himself is also going over some old ground still. He still hasn't got out of his shadow period. And he will reach the end of this period on the 27th of January. So Pluto will be moving out of shadow on the 27th of January, which is just 2 days before Venus reaches the end of her retrograde, which is happening on the 29th of January. So this 26 degree point of Capricorn is very significant as well. In fact, all of the Capricorn energy at this moment is quite strongly activated. It's a sign itself that is quite strongly activated at this time. Capricorn energy, 10th house energy, is quite powerful at this time. It's very significant as this is also where Pluto turned retrograde himself in April 2021. And it is also the same spot that Venus stationed retrograde on when she just turned retrograde recently. She was at 26 degrees as well. So again, check out the 26 point in your chart. Pluto is also on the 2nd of the 2nd of 2022. So that's the second, the 22nd. Not the 2nd of the 2nd, sorry, the 22nd of the 2nd, 22nd of February. Going to be in an exact return with the natal Pluto of the US 1776 chart. So I find it really interesting that this Venus retrograde should take place just before all this is about to happen, which I will be covering more deeply at a later date as well. I will go more into this natal Pluto return, which hasn't happened since 1776. So it's a big event. It's why we're seeing all this upheaval that is happening at this time in America, and why there is so much distortion there and so much change and transformation, and things are not going to get resolved quite yet, because it has to go through this period of this natal Pluto return. And it is a major transformational, evolutionary upgrade. And it is going to affect the rest of the world as well. This isn't an isolated America-only experience. Whatever happens is going to affect the rest of the world. So in general, in Capricorn, Pluto continues to devolve the last standing structures of the pillars of the powers that have been. The political systems, corporations, law courts, establishments, and all those controlling, restrictive, limiting boundaries that have grown out of them will keep crumbling away throughout 2022. And the more repressive they try to become, so as to try to hold on to that power, the quicker this is going to bring about their own downfall. So, which is quite ironic really, but it's kind of that awakening energy. Again, it's kind of related to the Uranus energy, in that sense of Uranus is pushing for freedom. Uranus is really pushing for change and breaking out. It's rebellious energy, it's revolutionary energy. So the more they try to keep the old in place and keep the restrictions there, the more we're going to kind of push against that as well, and the more people are going to wake up to it. Venus in Capricorn, however, is looking for stability, something long-lasting with a solid foundation. But she is also looking for her own satisfaction and discovering that she has the strength and the fortitude to be able to be herself, as well as be truthful to her heart and her own desires and wishes. Venus is learning how to be independent and resilient, while at the same time also opening up to being able to accept the support and sustenance from others once she has learnt to give these needs and desires to herself first. Venus is transforming, and during this retrograde period, she is learning about her own self-worth by revisiting the past of times when this may have been called into question, and in doing so set the tone for our own personal relationships around these Venusian themes. So basically Venus is going back to have a look at why we value what we value in the way that we value it. Why do we repeat the same patterns? Why do we keep feeling that we can't have this and we don't deserve that. It's that kind of energy that Venus is going back to take a deeper look at, because at some point when we thought that we, in our childhood, which is when all these patterns are set, something has kind of disturbed that belief system of being of being worthy. So it put in a different vibrational system. So Venus is going to clear out that old vibrational system that is no longer working for us, that is no longer helping us, is no longer sustaining us or feeding us, again, feeding our soul on a level that we need to have our souls fed. And so for this reason, we may find past loves, friends, memories of those who may have or still do hold a place in our heart may surface from the depth of the Pluto's emotional graveyard. This could be in physical reality for some of us, and for others this could be experienced through the dream realm, which could be especially strong at this time, as Venus will also be in a lovely sextile aspect with the higher version of herself, Neptune, at 20 degrees 42 minutes in Pisces. So a lot of the deep subconscious work could also be taking place on the astral plane. For this reason, we may also find that when we come out of this retrograde, for those ending a relationship with someone that has been particularly difficult to do, a healing and compassionate level of understanding may exist within the finality of it all. This is also part of the transformational act of forgiveness for not only others, but ultimately on a much deeper level for ourselves and our previous actions. So also our past us's, us when we behaved in a way that we no longer, when we look at it, we're kind of like, wow, I can't believe I did that kind of energy. It's like forgiving that side of ourselves because we did not know any better at that time. So rather than keep beating ourselves up about it, we need to kind of say, okay, that was how it was. I understand because of all the circumstances that was around it. I couldn't do anything else, so I couldn't understand it any differently. But now I do, and now I can let it go. I can forgive myself and I can let it go. So Chiron, the healer of our deep woundings, also stationed at the exact same time as Venus, which is why this is such an important thing at this time as well. Venus stationed, well, Venus and Chiron both stationed together midnight here in the UK, and they both went in different directions, or they stationed basically stationed for 2 days, because the planet kind of stays still, it hangs in the sky, it doesn't move, the energy is really powerfully being sent out because its energy is magnified at that time as well. So both the Venus energy and the Chiron energy has been really powerfully out there for this time. And when Venus started moving, of course she started moving retrograde, but as Chiron started moving, he started moving direct. So he's already gone through his retrograde and he's now come out the other side of it. But because they both stationed at the same time, there is this big energy, this big connection between the two energies here of healing deeper woundings. So like I was saying, this gave an extra dimension to this retrograde energy of Venus's as well, and also to his own kind of energy of resurrection as well, because Chiron being the wounded healer, it's like he resurrected himself from near death, really. And although he could never completely heal himself, it taught him how to become the healer for others as well, through his own wounding. So interestingly, Chiron's symbol is the key as well. And the key to this Venus retrograde is a healing of our deep wounded heart experiences, and that we are the only ones able to do this for ourselves. So it's basically saying, don't look outside for anybody to heal this for you. Don't think that you're going to find a relationship that's going to do that for you, because that's not what this is about. This is about you healing yourself first in order to be able to move on to a relationship that has already been healed. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to move into a relationship with somebody who you've been in a relationship before, though for some people that could well happen, because it is a time when these past relationships can come back, they can be healed, but we need to do our healing for ourselves. Nobody else is able to heal us, only ourselves, on that deeper level. These woundings may go back generationally. Indeed, when Chiron is involved, that is often the case. It may be the patternings of previous ancestral experiences that we are now carrying deeply within our own conditioned psyches. So in other words, these could be patterns from way back, great-grandparents who we don't even know that we're carrying this storyline there as well. But we kind of play it out still because it's been passed down through generation. So it's kind of worth looking at our own history when it comes to these experiences. In Aries, this is very much to do with the self, the inner warrior, who for centuries has been forced to conform to a certain set of values, rules and regulations in order to survive in a tightly controlled system. What makes this Chiron influence even more profound is at the time of this new moon in Capricorn, both the sun and the moon are in square to him. This is a conflicting feeling when none of the energies involved want to give way to the other. Here, with both the sun and the moon together, we are being challenged to take notice of what is taking place within us. Don't try to deny that wounding that we may not wish to acknowledge. Don't try to sweep it under the rug and pretend it doesn't exist. This tension is here for a good reason. We are still being asked to heal the old, the masculine, patriarchal, as Chiron continues to remain in a sextile with Saturn, which is finally coming to an end on the 6th of January 2022. Also an important date in the US. So yeah, again, going back to the US and everything that's happening out there at this time as well. The 6th, of course, is that kind of anniversary of what was supposed to have been the insurrection of America, and the coup that was supposed to have almost happened, even though it happened previous to that. But it's going to be, again, an interesting time to see what happens on that particular date as well. Because there is the healing of this masculine patriarchal energy, which is very profound and very strong in America as well. So Saturn will, however, remain connected to his higher octave of universal cosmic law and order, which is Make, a while longer, through this ongoing trine, which has been in the background of our lives since the beginning of 2021. So since early, like the very beginning of 2021, basically, Make, which is a higher, more kind of fifth dimensional body. It's further out in the universe, in our solar system. So its energy is much of a much higher vibration, but it has been in this trine with Saturn, and basically the two have been kind of dancing together right through 2021, as one went retrograde and then the other one went retrograde, so their energies have kind of been keeping together for the whole of 2021, and they've been in very close proximity to each other. So Makemake is here now and coming into our conscious awareness, and it's here to remind Saturn that he also has to answer to a higher frequency, and that man-made rules and regulations, which are very Saturnalian, very Saturn energy, because Saturn is the last planet that we can see with the physical eyes. He kind of rules the whole of the physical dimension that we live in. The 3D dimension, if you like, is ruled over by Saturn. But Makemake is universal law. He is cosmic law. He is the laws that are already there, that cannot be changed. They are what they are. They always will be what they are. And there are man-made laws and there are universal laws, and Makemake is kind of trying to remind us as well through this connection with Saturn that there is a higher law that we all answer to, and it is not another human being. That's basically the connection between these two planets at this time. It's like, this is not another human being, is no higher than any other human being on this planet. There's some that like to believe they are, but ultimately there really isn't. So Makemake is here to remind the world that universal laws are coming back. Basically, they're coming back into our awareness, into our court system, and kind of like people are waking up more to the sovereignty, which is really what Makemake is about. He's about our sovereignty and about us standing in our sovereignty. And Chiron is kind of helping to heal that side as well. In Aries, he's trying to kind of wake us up to that sovereignty that we all have. So Makemake is wanting to bring in the harmonious, balanced, peacemaking, loving relationships as well. Oh, sorry, I'll just go back. So this is creating a lot of direct, intense tension. I missed that bit, sorry, again. So Makemake is also in a direct opposition with Chiron at this time. As Chiron has stationed at 8 degrees in Libra, in Aries, and Makemake is at 8 degrees of Libra. There is just a few minutes between the two of them. So their energy is very strongly connected, very strongly, what's the word I'm looking for here? Not just connected, but there's very little between the two of them. So this is creating a lot of direct, intense tension between these two planets as the energy flows backwards and forwards between the two. And they're both in cardinal signs as well. So they're both in signs of action, doing, initiating. They both want to make things happen. So Makemake is wanting to bring in the harmonious, the balanced, the peacemaking, loving relationships from a higher spectrum of divine frequency. But he's being met by this still deeply wounded warrior self who is still trying to heal the scars of a brutal history. But this energy is going to continue for a while as well, because they are both so slow moving planets. Chiron will take a while to get beyond that Make energy before the two of them completely separate. It will take a while. So another very interesting aspect at this time is Mars, who is at 14 degrees and 21 minutes of Sagittarius. And he has just reactivated the point where the solar eclipse took place on the 4th of December, the 12 degrees 21 minute point of the center. So this reactivating energy is something that Mars does automatically. He also cuts off the energy of eclipses that have been finished for a while. For example, the previous Capricorn eclipse season. So as he goes through into Capricorn, he will begin to cut off the energy of those eclipses that have been kind of previous season. So when the South Node was going through Capricorn and we had the eclipses in Capricorn. Now though, he is in the reactivation mode, which is going to fire up this last solar eclipse in Sagittarius again, and this eclipse energy is not going to happen again until 2029, when the North Node will become our guiding star once more in Sagittarius. So in the meantime, the Sagittarian themes of freedom, truth, justice, higher wisdom, pushing beyond the boundaries of what we know in order to discover more, are all being relit for the next 6 months. For those of us in the UK, this occurred on the night of New Year's Eve. So this has just taken place. I mean, the solar eclipse itself only took place at the very beginning of December anyway, so that 6 months energy is kind of still very much playing out, because that's how long a solar eclipse lasts, for about 6 months. But now that Mars has gone in and kind of reactivated it, it's kind of really going to bring those themes back to life again. So yes, so New Year's Eve, a good time to celebrate our freedoms, seeking truth and higher knowledge. Interestingly, Mars is also conjunct the point of the Great Attractor, that giant magnetic Hoover-like massive raw creative force that sits at the fixed point of 14 degrees 14 minutes of Sagittarius. Again, for those who have that kind of like being able to see what's coming in the future kind of ability, or seeing round walls as they call it, because the Great Attractor literally bends the light because its magnetism is so strong. Those who have anything within those 14 degrees 14 minutes either side, so either at that 12-minute point of Sagittarius, 12-degree point, sorry, of Sagittarius, or the 16-degree point of Sagittarius, or anything in between there. If you have anything, any points or planets there, then you probably have this kind of ability to know what's coming, what's round the next corner, what's behind the wall, so to speak, without actually even going there. It is an ability, apparently, that comes with this this Great Attractor. So as we ended out 2021, we had 3 moons in a row, all connected to the higher galactic themes. Now, as we start 2022 at this new moon, Mars is himself in a very tight conjunction with this incredibly powerful, massive, raw creative force. On a more earthly note, Mars has also been in an opposition with Black Moon Lilith at 18 degrees of Gemini since the 30th of December, which could help bring forward some darker truth and information around anything to do with the taboo world that Black Moon Lilith likes to inhabit. In Gemini, this could be particularly related to children and media. And with Black Moon Lilith at the same time square to Neptune, there could be an obscuration of the facts, as the truth is concealed behind a wall of silence and deception. Mars is also Mars is also square Neptune, creating a T-square between between the three energies. So you've got Mars in Sagittarius square to Neptune, and then you've got Black Moon Lilith in Gemini square to Neptune as well. So that T-square energy again, where the energy flows between the two signs of Sagittarius and Gemini, so between Black Moon Lilith and Mars, the energy again backwards and forwards like an opposition, but then because you've got this third energy, that's the focus point, that's the point where it's going to release that tension, that build up. Finally it will release through that Neptune energy. And as I said, this could have something to do with concealing the truth, or just a silence, like nothing coming out from behind that wall, behind that veil of silence. But eventually, I feel it will happen, it will come out, the truth will emerge. Like I said, with Black Moon Lilith, again, it could be a darker truth. Because Mars is also aligned with this galactic attractor as well. And the galactic attractor basically leaves no stone unturned. I mean, it's just constantly churning and bringing all this stuff into it. So nothing gets left unturned. And so to me, this is truth that will eventually be revealed, but it will leave this bitter taste in the mouth when it does so, which is the Black Moon Lilith energy. It will be a bitter truth, and a truth that we may not want to know, even though we need to know it. A part of us may feel that we would rather not know it once we do know it. So Jupiter is now in the very early 0 degrees 53 of Pisces. He will be finally leaving his shadow, where he turned retrograde at 2 degrees 11 of Pisces back in June, on January the 9th. In Pisces, Jupiter is the sign of the deep, boundaryless subconscious. He is going to bring in a new, expansive, optimistic, hopeful, joyful side to our belief that anything is possible when it comes to living life. This Jupiter in Pisces transit is also going to bring out the best in all our creative endeavours, adding a beautiful touch of the flair for the artistic in all we do. Jupiter is also going to magnify our intuitive knowing, our psychic abilities, which could lead to a deeper dive into the world of the mystical and magical. Jupiter continues to be in an ongoing T-square with the moon's nodes, highlighting and amplifying both the past, South Node, and the future, North Node, in equal measure. We are still being encouraged to release ourselves from the old and move toward the new. This T-square is set to come to a close a couple of days after they move access into Taurus, North Node, and Scorpio, South Node, which they do on the 18th of January here in the UK. This is going to set the tone for the next 18 months, which is really going to bring these Venusian and Plutonian themes to life. So another planet that has now changed sign is Mercury, which happened about 12 hours before this new moon in Capricorn. He is now at 0 degrees 38 minutes of Aquarius. Mercury has recently entered his shadow, which he did on the 29th of December at 24 degrees 22 minutes of Capricorn. He will be reaching the 10 degrees 18 minutes of Aquarius on the 14th of January, where he will station retrograde. So he is already starting to slow down, and his energy is now, as with all planets, being amplified. All planets' energy becomes stronger as they slow down. So Mercury is the planet of our lower thinking everyday mind. It is the constant chatter in the back of our heads, telling us what we think about ourselves, our lives, what we do and don't deserve, whether we are to this or to that or not enough of the other. At the time of this new moon in Capricorn, Mercury is only making one connection, and that is a conjunction with the planet of death, dying, decay, poison, purging and ultimate transformation, that is Pluto. Over this period of Mercury's retrograde, he too, like Venus, will be conjunct Pluto 3 times in all. One of which will be when he stations direct on the 14th of February. Mercury, our planet of communication, is in Aquarius, representative of the voice of the collective. He's going to be speaking out very powerfully against those figures and structures of authority in our life. This could be done verbally, as we see more uprisings and more non-compliance, as well as by the written word, which with Pluto in Capricorn, which also governs the legal systems, we could well begin to see action being taken in law disputes against those in positions of power who have taken it upon themselves to knowingly destroy the lives of the citizens they have supposedly been trying to protect. More and more people are going to speak out. As I said in the last astrology write-up and video, this is going to be a very hard and dark winter, and an enormous amount of loved ones are going to be lost over this period of time. I've also spoken before of how Pluto is at this time one of the major influences in our lives, and how the spectre of death literally seems to be following us everywhere we turn. Right now, he is in between Venus, our values, and Mercury, our voice. It is time to bring things to an end. Mercury also rules our media, of course, so it will also be interesting to see what comes out of the establishment at this time. Pay close attention, but that doesn't mean accept blindly that you are what you are hearing or reading. Another attribute of Mercury is discernment, something we will all be wise to use over the next 3 months. So the 12 degree Sabian symbol for Capricorn is a student of nature lecturing, revealing little known aspects of life. So this degree shows the ability to observe things that other people would miss. You can be an example to others for understanding the wonders of nature, weaving together issues to form a story, to lecture, to inform others. Often there's a special talent around natural and alternative issues, and it may be your job to show the way or to teach about nature or medicine or herbs, etc. Too much weight has been given to the artificial needs of society, and it's time to redress the balance. Practical applications of knowledge can help people better understand. Revealing the truth can lead to wonder and awe, but also disbelief. It depends on how it's delivered. Observing and translating so others may enjoy. Green politics, natural remedies, science and its rewards and drawbacks. Whistleblowers, conspiracy theories and workshops. So the more kind of negative aspects of this, I suppose, is what they're kind of saying here, is radical non-humanistic views, intellectual smugness, lecturing people about their lives, browbeating, lip service to conservation values, and bashing greenies, whatever that may mean. So that's basically what it says and how it ends. So so that kind of seems to be very much for me around the natural side of life and returning to a natural way of living our lives rather than allowing this more kind of radical non-humanistic views to come in, this transhuman, dare I say, side of the Aquarius mind that I keep talking about, this Aquarius energy, the more kind of lower level hive mind where everybody has to think the same, be the same, a cog in the wheel of the system to keep the system going, even if the system isn't benefiting everybody. But that is all going to change, because that is not the higher Aquarius energy. The higher Aquarius energy is very much about the benefit of all for the greater good, but at the same time being aware of our own individuality. But coming back to the Plutonian themes here as well, that kind of again, I've spoken about this, how death is kind of like the final taboo, but people can become obsessed by it. Very Pluto energy again. Pluto has this obsessive side to it, and so there can be at this time this very obsessive pull towards that energy at this time. Again, from in Capricorn, we're talking about, you know, power structures, those in positions of authority who have a different take on the world to the rest of us. At this time, they're very kind of pulled by this desire to depopulate, basically, and their way of depopulation is by killing off as many people as they possibly can. So there is this driving energy at this time of this very Pluto mindset in that way, to kind of clear, purge, very Pluto themes again. Purging and poison is another very Pluto ruled theme. So when we're talking about what's been happening over this last 2 years and the drive towards getting everybody to take a certain medical procedure, we are literally talking here about this desire for ridding the world very much of the kind of older, more infirm, those people as they see that aren't like sustainable, people who that they believe can't, you know, they see them as not as people who have a life, and people around them and people who love them. They just see them as a problem to get rid of, a problem to resolve, and what's the best way to do that. So people really need to kind of become aware more of what is happening with this Pluto energy, because it really is a big theme at this time. And as the South Node moves into Pluto, which it will be doing on the 18th of January, it's going to become even stronger for the next 18 months as well. Not just purging out our own crap and clearing out our own poisons, if you like, and our own devils, but also it's going to be on a much bigger scale as well. People wanting to purge the world in that sense of those that they don't believe have the right to be here for one reason or another. So while we've been talking, I pulled a card here, and the card that I've got here is Serapis Bay, and I'm taking it from the Keepers of Light. And this isn't a card that I myself have pulled before now, and it's saying, move into your true self, rise above the darkness, the light is here. And that's really interesting, because Venus is the light. Pluto is the darkness in that sense. Pluto is the underworld, and Venus is the light, and Venus is going into the underworld to discover her own light. When Venus comes out of this retrograde, she will be the morning star. She will have changed from the evening star to the morning star, which will be quite spectacular. So, Serapis Bay is the light keeper in charge of ascension. He once served as a priest in Luxor, Egypt, helping those passing on to cross over into the light. Now he is a presence we can call on in order to ascend. Ascension means rising up. It reminds us of the story of Christ being resurrected after death. Again, that kind of Chiron energy that I was talking about as well, that healing, resurrecting the wounded healer, which has that Christ energy about it as well. This means that Serapis Bay can guide us from the lowest states of being back to the light. His energy is almost like that of a phoenix, giving us the support to move out of our own hell of darkness into a space that supports our growth. And that's interesting, because that is another side of Pluto as well, is the phoenix, the total transformation, going through the fire and coming out rebirthed, reborn, transformed. So Serapis Bay, can't say I've ever really heard about this. I might have to go and research his energy. So that is where I'm going to leave the reading for today. I hope that you have found it informative, interesting, got something from it in general. If you have, please could you thumbs it up for me, because it does help to bring more attention to my videos. The more likes I get, the more attention, as I was saying, it kind of receives as well. So thank you very much to those of you who have liked my videos in the past, those of you who do like my videos, share my videos, have subscribed to my channel. Thank you so much to those of you who've been here with me on this journey over 2021, and I hope to be expanding it into 2022 as well, really kind of doing a lot more with it. I have had this big major Uranus Saturn squaring energy happening close to my sun, kind of in between my sun and my Jupiter as well, so I have been quite affected by it. My Mars and my Mercury have been affected by it, and so it has kind of had an effect on my life and kind of held me back from doing as much as I want to be doing on this channel as well. So 2022 I'm going to do a lot more of the actual readings as well, which I haven't been doing for a while because a lot of my attention has been going into just the astrology and the tarot readings for the full moons and the new moon signs. So I will continue to do them as well. There is playlists as well for anybody who's interested. If you want to find out any more about the readings that I've done previously as well, if you're interested in subscribing to my channel but aren't sure about my actual readings, if you want to go and check them out before you subscribe. Also, if you want to subscribe, there is a little subscribe button on the video which you can tap, and that will open up the bell, which you can then decide whether or not you want to get my videos as and when I put them out there as well. So with that being said, please subscribe. Again, just please subscribe to my channel, really help me to grow it through 2022. But thank you all very much for being patient with me, those of you who have kind of stayed there and have been there through this time as well, so I really do appreciate it. And yeah, 2022, new energy, major shifting of the planets, things moving, energies changing. We are going to come out of this probably after March, April time. Things will probably start to really begin to clear as we come out of this Venus retrograde as well. So that's really the time period that I'm kind of looking forward. We've got this 3-month period which I think is going to be really difficult. But anyway, I will keep on trying to do my best here, and hopefully you enjoy what I'm doing. So thank you again, and have a great new moon. Remember to set an intention for it, but be aware as well, as I said earlier, be aware that when you do, because it's trining Uranus, that it may not end up looking the way that you wanted or thought it was going to turn out. So there could be many twists and turns on the way, and you may have to change the outlook for how the actual outcome is, because Uranus is so unpredictable. You just never know what's coming. So that's part of the fun, I suppose. So as the Sandpiper says, playfulness, have fun with it all, and hopefully I will see you all again soon. Take care. Thank you.